Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to tell you how to stop judging yourself because we all do it, right? So if you're new to my channel, my name is Rachel and I help people enjoy the human experience. So I am going to give you information today about why we judge ourselves that was given to me by my guides because I do these weekly calls on Instagram, live Q&A calls, and some of this information came straight from there. And I'm really excited to share it with you. It was such an insight and enlightenment moment for me and for the community. And I thought it would be so important that I can't not share it with you, right? And I'm so thrilled that so many of you are going to watch this. So whatever way you watch it, this is a hot topic. It affects everybody because most of us judge ourselves daily. And for some of us, it can be hourly. We are our own worst enemy, our own bully. We judge ourselves and we are literally at war with ourselves. So some of the things that you might be judging yourself about or beating up on yourself is what? Your wrinkles, your thighs, the way you laugh, your status, any of those things. Now, since affirmations are such a hot topic, let me ask you this. If I took all those nasty things that you say to yourself and you played it back on repeat, how long would you be willing to sit there and listen to it? Would you buy that affirmation tape? I doubt it. So when we have all of this dialogue in our head, what I want you first to realize is you're not alone. In fact, the beliefs that you are not enough and there's something wrong with you are probably the most pervasive form of self-imposed suffering in our culture. And the one thing that helps the most with this is community. So I felt this would be an ideal setting for the people to see how many others are also not only struggling, but interested in this subject. We've all done it. And most of the people who are watching this are going to judge themselves in the next hour. So when I sat down to write a few notes about what I felt was the highest to share, about judging ourselves, I had enough, honestly, to write a book, and maybe that's going to be in the works in the future. So instead of turning this into a 5-hour webinar on how to stop judging, I thought it'd be better to give it to you in bite-sized pieces, a little bit each week. And we're going to keep working through the different layers of judgment because honestly, it is so layered. So we're going to start today with the most foundational aspect of this subject, which is to understand why we do it. And this will probably blow you away because it did for me. I have never heard anybody explain it this way, but my guides want to share with you all kinds of new information. So stay to the end and check out the channel every week. Subscribe to be notified. So the reason that we judge ourselves is, drumroll, it's instincts. Yeah, it's actually instinctual to judge yourself, and here's why. An aspect of our mental functioning, or what we call our threat mechanism, is actually linked to the fact that we're predisposed from our primal days to spot threats that could cause us harm. So think back to when you lived in tribes. Okay, maybe not think back, but imagine the worst thing that could happen is to be rejected from the tribe because then you're kicked out into the wilderness to fend for yourself against wild animals and the elements. And even though we're no longer living in those times, we have to be hyper vigilant to anything that threatens our survival. We're still hardwired that day with our primordial brains. So you essentially have 3 brains which have developed through evolution. They've become more logical, thankfully, but that's an in-depth discussion for another day when we chat about how to make decisions appropriately. But essentially what's important to understand is we're pre-programmed to spot threats as anything that will get us rejected by our tribe, which in our modern world could mean our relationships, our work environment, our family, our group of friends, whatever your tribe is for you. And usually you'll probably have several little circles or little pockets of people that you hang out with. These are your tribe. So this puts us on alert, which means we have an internal dialogue designed to keep us alert from these threats. Except here's the craziest part. We're perceiving aspects of ourselves as the threat. Now, the nuttiest part of this whole thing is that our perceptions were taught to us. In other words, we're thinking and regurgitating someone else's thoughts. Think of a mama cat who teaches her kittens how to use a litter box. Our parents taught us their version of what is safe and what is unsafe. And from there, we've gone out into the world and found our tribes that allow us to feel the most safe. But sometimes some aspects of us fall outside what our tribes are about. And so then we start to go into judgment about those aspects of us as unsafe. And we don't want to share them with the world. We hide them. And isn't that the saddest thing ever? I bet you didn't connect those dots before. So to keep this all straight and to summarize, the reason that we judge ourselves is because 1, it's instinctive to be aware of threats. Number 2, anything we feel that will get us rejected from our tribe is a threat. Number 3, we perceive aspects of ourselves, even if it's just wrinkles or a few extra pounds or the way we talk or your sexual orientation or your height or whatever it is for you, as a threat. Number 4, these are not your original ideas. They've been passed down from generation to generation. Like a mama cat who teaches her kittens to use a litter box, we have been taught to be aware of all the things that others might reject about us. And number 5, basically what I'm saying is that we're actually afraid of ourselves in the way that we'd be afraid of a dark alley. It's the same perceived threat. So we judge it and avoid it. Yikes, hey? Now, the reason I share all this with you is so that you can see how instinctual it is to judge. And from that perspective, let your logical brain kick in and see that there's really no threat to you having a few extra curves or the way that you laugh or being your own version of funny or whatever it is. So being aware of this, we can now create a pattern interruption when the self-judgment train starts picking up speed, right? Awesome, lovelies. Now, the core message here today is that you're not broken. Your brain is operating just as it's meant to. It's a self-protection mechanism designed to keep you safe. And I tell you this so that you can stop judging yourself for judging yourself. Yeah, there is a ridiculous amount of layers here when it comes to talking about judgment. And in the coming weeks, we're going to peel back more layers of the whys and the hows. It's like an onion. We're going to peel them back one layer at a time. Now, how was this layer for you? Enlightening or what? When you begin to realize just how magnificent you are and how perfectly your body and your mind and your energy creates your circumstances, then you begin to see that you are so wonderful and you accept your magnificence and you finally are going to be on the road to stop judging yourself. So each week we'll go deeper. And today the focus is on noticing and reveling in. And I mean really allowing yourself to bask in the magnificence of your protection mechanism and how it's kept you safe for so long. You don't need to fight it or banish it or battle against it, because first comes the challenge and then comes the change. So for this week, until we meet again next Tuesday, the challenge is notice when you go into self-judgment and be proud of yourself that you're working just as you're meant to. Notice all the aspects of yourself that you've perceived as a threat and the ways that you have judged it as unsafe and the change that will follow naturally from the challenge is that maybe, just maybe, if you're feeling brave, you will allow one little aspect of you to be maybe seen or celebrated or maybe just to feel safe. So much loves, my beautifuls. And remember, you are the magnificent creator of your own life. And I'll see you next week.